Hello and welcome into South Jersey Warrens. We're going to go over a couple things. First off, this right here is our European nightcrawler bin. There's a big bin back here, I don't know if you can see. We'll get to that later, but we're going to do a quick feeding of this bin. We got some strawberries on the counter for the last day or so. I was just in here about a week ago. I gave them some strawberries and a cucumber. As you can see, they're all over it. And I don't see any of it left, which is great. It's fantastic. So we'll move some of this over there. Try and make everything nice and neat. Now this is my newest warm bin. I used to only have red wigglers till about a month ago. And then I bought some European night crawlers. Bought 2 pounds. Most people will probably say what I just fed them is going to be a little too much. But, like I said, I gave them at least the same amount, if not a little bit less last week. So they're going to be happy with that. Make sure you get all them out. Take some cardboard. Get all the juices out of there. Alright. We'll leave that sit. Like I said, this is our newest warm bin. And they are extremely happy. Don't have any water, so I'll have to come back and spray that with the water. There's a leaf from the last feeding. Bin's been pretty good to me so far. Like I said, about a month old. Alright, there's our next bin. I'm calling this my big bin. This is all European, or I'm sorry, red wigglers. We're done with the European nightcrawlers. And they are ferocious. So I added this last week. I don't know exactly how many are in here. What I would estimate anywhere between 8 to 10,000. Some people may say it's a lot less, but as you can see, they're all over this piece of lettuce here. I got some more food under here. This has been my feeding zone. I do like to rotate, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to spin this around. So this is a 27-gallon tote that you would typically buy from Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, wherever the case may be. And it is chock full of worm castings, as you can see. This is beautiful. Let's see how far down this goes. Not too far. Let's see, I got a potato here. Ooh, potatoes in here. I thought they would rot, and instead they've actually been exploding in growth between all my bins. So I have 4 bins total, 3 of which are red wigglers and 1 European nightcrawler. I started this journey in October of 23 with only 500 red wigglers, and I thought, I'll get there eventually. I saw a bunch of different things on Instagram and TikTok and whatnot, how you can grow your own worms in the basement and make wonderful pure worm castings. So that's just what I did. Started off with a worm tower, and they were doing great in that. But I tried my hand at, oh, there's an egg right there. Tried my hand at breeding, and that didn't just go over so well. I don't know if that's the same egg or a different egg, but they are definitely multiplying in here still, which is great. I've had this bin going now for, I would say, about 6 to 8 months, maybe a little bit longer. Seed of some sort. This bin is over desperately needed on a good rotation like this. I didn't rotate on this side because I was feeding last on this side. So now I'm feeding on the other side. I can, now all the food is gone on this side mostly. I can rotate, aerate, not rotate, aerate the bin up. And they were just all over. Like I said, I would estimate anywhere from 8 to 10,000 worms in this one bin. And I have two other bins, like you just saw on the European net crawler. Small mortar totes, mortar bins. I would say about 2 to 3,000 in those. So my red wigglers are well taken care of. And they are all over. I mean, I'm digging. Oh, I'm not even at the bottom yet. Now I'm at the bottom. And I'm still finding them all. They're just going through everything. Oh, there's a European net crawler. I have found that to be the case when I got my European net crawlers. I got the one batch, and unfortunately it had all perished in transit. That was at the end of June. Got in contact with the seller. They were very helpful. Sent me out another batch. Again, two pounds. Put them in the bin, and they loved it. The only thing I could think of was just it was too hot for them in transit. But since getting them, I have noticed I found 5, maybe even 6 European net crawlers out of my European net crawler bin and into my other 2 bins, or other 3 bins, which I have asked on Facebook, and everyone thinks I'm cross-contaminated, which is kind of hard to cross-contaminate when I literally just got the European net crawlers and I only gave them 2 feedings. So I think just because they were hungry, it was a new bin, fresh bin, completely fresh. I didn't have any food in there for them. Or here's an apple. Let's see how they are loving this apple. I don't want to tear them apart, tear them off of it. But you can see them all. That's just a warm cocoon in there going on. Doing a warm party. Put that over there. But everyone thinks I'm crazy, or that I purposely mixed my bins up. It did not. But like you just saw, I found a European net crawler in my regular red wiggler bin. We're just going through, making sure everyone's healthy. I mean, they're really liking this bin. What's this? Got another. That's another potato. Here's another European net crawler. I want the European little potato. That must have been one that was growing. Yeah, I put potatoes in here thinking they were gonna rot off and die, and instead they started growing. Sure sign of a very healthy worm castings and vermicompost going on right here. Especially when you got things growing like that. I'm in my basement. And as you see, I have a black cover for it, black trash bag that I do cover it. The only one that's not covered is the Europeans, which I'm going to have to do just because that's now 7 European net crawlers that I found outside of their bin. I mean, which is fine. I don't mind it, because I'm not selling my red wigglers And even if I was, I would make sure I would go through them and check. I did ask on Facebook, because when I first discovered, I'm like, well, that's not right. Thinking maybe I got, in the year and a half, I never had an adult large worm like that. Like I said, I started this in October of 23. Not this bin, but just the journey alone of having worms. And it's been fun ever since. Check on them a lot less often than I would like to, but that's the one beautiful thing about worms, is you can leave them alone for 6 months. They will eat through all this. Now I'm not adding any more cardboard to this bin. Obviously, I am trying to deconstruct this bin. Now that is a very long worm. I've seen long worms like this, but never a fat worm like a European nightcrawler. And I got the European nightcrawlers this year in hopes to breed them in time for next summer to be able to sell them at farmers markets or in my local community for fishermen. Now this one is hard to tell. To me, that's a European nightcrawler. But I'm going to leave it in here because it may not be. It may just be a little fatter of a red wiggler. So I'm going to leave it in here. Probably get a European, but like I said, I'm not super worried about having the worms mixed, just because you can obviously tell when they're adults what they are. And even if I was to sell some, if someone ended up one European nightcrawler, whoop-de-doo. It's not going to be able to reproduce, so they're just going to have one worm that's going to be a little bigger than all the rest. Which I can tell them, listen, if you have that, if I were to ever sell red wigglers, I would tell them, listen, if you end up with one, just let me know. You can either give it back to me, or I can give you a European, because they're real easy to pick out, and you can have a mixed worm tower or bin or whatever you may choose. Now this, I don't know, looks like a Euro. It's more flat, but we'll dump it in the Euro. I went with the Euros instead of the African nightcrawlers. Again, I'm in my basement. I am in the northern part of the U.S. So, temperature-wise, I'm afraid that they wouldn't survive a winter, even though they're in my basement. Yes, I do know that the temperature in the worm bin is usually a lot different than the outside temperature. But still, why take a risk? Why take a chance on something that doesn't need to be done? As well as come summer, when I do go to sell them, I can put them into a bin, and they're a lot more hospitable to being put into a cooler with some ice in it to keep them cool on hot days when I'm at, like, say, a farmer's market or something like that, trying to sell them. Or I go to the local park or watering hole. Lake, not a watering hole. Watering hole is a bar. That is really wet down here. This is all, I gotta pull all this out. It's super, super wet down here. As you can see. So as I pull stuff out, I'll push the top layer back in and rotate. Oh, forgot our apple. Took that apple back down. There we go. So that's one of my regular bins. Has kind of a smell to it. Not bad, just starting to go anaerobic. So I'm glad I got to it now. What I'll do is I'll leave this uncovered for the afternoon, just to let it dry out a little bit. I don't spray this bin too often. The last time I sprayed it was when I added cardboard, which is probably about 2 or 3 months ago. It's something new that I'm not used to with the spraying of the water. Only because with the worm tower, well, that is definitely a European nightcrawler right there. Move him back over. Like this. Soak that up. I did say I was going to leave this uncovered. So we'll cover that side up because there are some worms still in there. And then we'll move on over to one of our other bins. Alright, we're back with another bin. Not as much going on. We got one up here. We don't want to drag them off. Can't. Don't want to come. Come on, buddy. Alright. So this is number 2 of my Web Wiggler bins. And they are absolutely loving. Hold on. Let me add some more light over here. There we go. They're absolutely loving this lettuce. Goes pretty quick. This is about a week old. Been sitting in here. Here's what I've been meaning about the potatoes. Just grows. Great thing about potatoes, you can just set them down and they grow. Bin's a little dry, so I'm gonna have to come back and spritz it. I think it's a little dry. Yeah, it's definitely a little dry. What I should really do is sift it out, being it is so dry, and get some of these worm castings out. bin has been going now for, I want to say, about 4 or 5 months. I think I started this right after the Super Bowl. Maybe it's been longer. Doing the quick math in my head. Sorry, either right before the Super Bowl or right after the Super Bowl. I didn't really start it. I more so moved it from, I don't know what all these worms are from. They're just eating it up. Whatever was right there. I don't know, maybe that was a lettuce head. But, so I moved from the worm tower. When I emptied out the worm tower, I just dumped it into one of these bins, and it may have been this bin. Looks like another European nightcrawler, but we're gonna leave it in here for now. And look at that black right there. That's all worm castings. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So yeah, I don't think I'll sift this one out. This was the entirety of my worm tower. So everything that was in my worm tower just got dumped into here because I was getting a little frustrated with it. Again, I am in my basement, so it was sitting just straight on the floor. Alright, so my camera died. I had to go to my phone. I'm actually going to sign off here. I just finished flipping this bin. I have another bin that I want to quickly do, so close this up. And yes, this is the lid for a big 27-gallon tote. Just makes it easier for you to trash bags. everything. Did not feed these two bins this week because, as you can see, in a lettuce head. So let's rotate the whole apple. They're just put all this up. That was all on the other side of the apple. Look at all that. Absolutely love it. Another potato with small potatoes growing off of it. I just broke off. Should really transplant that into like a 5-gallon bucket. There's another bin I gotta come down and spritz it with water. It's just been dry. I had the issue where it was too wet and now it's too dry. That's the only downfall of not having the trash bag. I do like the trash bag because it does keep the moisture in. I know a lot of people do use it. I'm not saying it's bad, but I had the lids and I want to try the lids. Lids have been working great. But this is my worm farm. So I got 4 bins total. 1 of European night crawlers, 3 red wigglers, and this bin is just crawling with them. What I'm going to start doing, probably in the next week, is empty out my big bin. And in doing so, what I'll end up doing, I got to go to Lowe's, get another, I don't know if I have a 27-gallon tote right behind me that has a bunch of dry cardboard in. I do need to get fresh cardboard, which I do get from my local supermarket. I just go in there and on like a weekend. Prefer them on like a Saturday. That's when they flip the cases for like sale items. So if something's going on sale on Sunday, they have to fill up a case, cold case or something like that. End caps. I used to work at the supermarket, so I know all about this. But they had to fill all that up, and in doing so, they end up with a lot of boxes at the end of the day. Typically, like 5, 6 o'clock, after the rush of the day, is typically when they try to do it. You do it sooner in the day, people get antsy and they complain, saying, "Oh, you're doing it too early. How do I know what's supposed to be on sale this week?" And blah blah blah. And you're putting the sale in for next week, and it's a whole kerfuffle. So that's my worm farm, and I hope you enjoy it. And I'll be back in next week with another video. Thank you. Have a good one.